There is a machine in your kitchen that has not taken a day off since the day you bought it. It hums while you sleep. It hums while you work. It hums through your vacations, your holidays, every hour of every season. And you pay for every one of those hours. Depending on its age, somewhere between $50 and $200 a year. Forever. On 18 small islands in the middle of the North Atlantic, there are families who have never paid that bill. Nordic islanders, the Faroese, keep meat fresh for 9 months with a wooden shed and the wind. No compressor, no freezer, nothing with a plug, a few boards, a gap between them, and the air that comes off the sea. My grandfather had one of those sheds behind his boathouse. I remember standing in it as a boy while a storm tried the walls, watching whole legs of lamb sway on their hooks like slow church bells. That shed fed 4 generations of my family. It never broke down once. I used to think a refrigerator was what the word fresh meant. It is not. A refrigerator is one way of slowing food down. It is not the oldest way. It is not the cheapest way. And for half of what is sitting in yours right now, it was never the necessary way. Before this video ends, I will show you the system. The shed, the wind, and the exact conditions that keep meat good for 9 months with no salt added and no cold. I will show you the honest version of it that you can set up against one wall of your garage for the price of a nice dinner. And I will tell you what pushed this knowledge off the shelf in the first place, and why nobody ever proved it wrong. This works in the house you are living in right now. No contractor, no permit, no new wiring. But first, let me start with a number that should make you angry. Nobody thinks of cold as something you rent. But look at what your kitchen actually signed you up for. The refrigerator draws power every hour of every day. An efficient new one costs less to run, an old one costs more, and the tired second fridge out in the garage is the worst of the family. By some estimates, that one alone can burn well over $100 a year, keeping a case of soda and some freezer-burned venison cold. Then there is the chest freezer humming beside it. Then there is the replacement cycle nobody puts in the budget. A refrigerator lives roughly 10 to 15 years, and when it dies, you hand over another $1,000, give or take, for the next one. And then there is the fragile part. If the power goes out on a Friday and comes back on a Monday, you are not just sitting in a warm house. You are throwing food away. A full freezer lost to one long outage can cost several $100s. A season of meat in the trash bag by Tuesday morning. Add it up honestly, and an ordinary family is paying a few $100s a year, every year, for the privilege of cold it will never own. You do not own your cold. You rent it, and the landlord never sleeps. Now, here is the part that should make you angrier than the bill. Walk over and open the door. Potatoes, onions, winter squash, apples by the bag, garlic, that hard salami from Christmas. Human beings stored every one of those things for centuries without a single watt of electricity. Cool rooms, dark corners, moving air. The knowledge was ordinary. Every farmhouse had it. Your own great-grandmother had it. Half of what is in your refrigerator is not preservation. It is habit. The box was there, so everything went into the box. Your crisper drawer is holding onions that would honestly rather live somewhere else. I am not telling you the refrigerator is useless. We will get to what it does well before the end, and I will be fair to it. I am telling you it annexed territory it never needed to hold, and it charges you rent on every square inch. Which leaves the real question. If cold air in a box is the only serious way to keep food, then how does a leg of lamb hang in an open wooden shed through an entire North Atlantic winter and come out not just safe, but so good that fine restaurants serve it with pride? To answer that, I have to take you home. Picture the place first, because the place is the proof. The Faroe Islands sit alone in the North Atlantic, between Iceland, Norway, and Scotland. 18 islands of rock and grass where the weather is not small talk. It is the landlord, the government, and the school teacher all at once. A decade ago, a winter storm pushed gusts of 175 miles an hour across those islands, 283 kilometers an hour. That is not a number from a disaster movie. That is a December night people still mention at dinner. It rains about 270 days a year there. 3 days out of 4, something wet is falling. There are essentially no native trees. The wind saw to that long ago. And the air stays cool the whole year round, rarely freezing hard, never truly warm. On those islands live about 54,000 people and roughly 70,000 sheep. The old name of the place, Faroese, most likely means sheep islands. Sheep are not a hobby there. They are the national food supply, which means that every autumn, for over 1,000 years, families have faced the same arithmetic. Winter is long, and a whole animal has to last until spring. Their answer is standing in backyards all over the islands right now. It is called a hjallur, a drying shed built of wooden slats with deliberate gaps between the boards, always set where the wind can find it. Inside, whole legs of lamb hang from hooks, and the salt wind off the sea moves through those gaps day and night, week after week, month after month. No ice, no salt rubbed in, no smoke, just wind. After a couple of months, that lamb becomes rast, fermented, halfway to dry, with a flavor the islanders will tell you no factory has ever managed to copy. Leave it hanging longer, 5 months, 7, 9, and it becomes skerpikjøt, fully wine-dried mutton, firm enough to slice thin and good until the next slaughter comes around. Understand what that means. Meat hanging in an unheated wooden shed through storms that close airports, staying good for 9 months. Not as an emergency ration, as the plate you are proud to put in front of guests. You can buy it in the shops of Tórshavn. Restaurants in the islands build dishes around it. Families argue about whose shed makes it best, the way families here argue about barbecue. This is not a survival relic. Where I come from, this is not a trick. It is Tuesday. I learned it the way every island kid learns it, standing next to my grandfather while my hands went numb. The autumn I turned 10, he let me help hang the legs for the first time, and I remember being surprised that he never once looked at the sky. He looked at the gaps between the boards. The sky lies, he told me. The gap tells the truth. The wind through that gap. How fast, how wet, how salty. Decided everything, where each leg hung, how high off the ground, which wall should face the sea. He read a wooden wall the way your contractor reads a blueprint, and he was never once wrong that I saw. Now hold the two pictures side by side. Their weather, gusts near 175 miles an hour, rain 3 days out of 4, salt spray riding on the air. Your weather, whatever it is kinder than that. If moving air can keep meat good for 9 months in the wettest, windiest, saltiest place a shed could possibly stand, then the cool, dry, sheltered corner of your garage is not a challenge. It is a luxury. So what exactly is the wind doing inside that shed? Stay with me here, because the mechanism is simple enough to fit in one sentence, and valuable enough that an entire industry sells it back to you under a fancier name. Here is the clever part. Everything that ruins meat wants the same 2 conditions: warmth and still, damp air. Take those away and trouble moves slowly. Keep taking them away, week after week, and it barely moves at all. A refrigerator attacks the first condition. It makes everything cold, and cold slows trouble down. That works. But it is the brute force answer, and you pay for the brute force by the hour, for life. The hjallur attacks the second condition. Cool air that keeps moving pulls water out of the meat, slowly, steadily, from the surface inward. Water is what trouble needs to grow. Take the water out before trouble can settle in, and the meat does not rot. It cures. And the sea wind brings one more gift, a fine load of salt carried as spray that settles on the surface and works it gently. That is why nobody rubs salt into a Faroese lamb leg. The Atlantic applies it for free, one storm at a time. And because the drying is slow, months, not hours, the meat's own enzymes have time to do quiet work of their own, turning bland into savory the way time turns grape juice into wine. Slow loss of water, slow gain of flavor. That is the trade. If that principle sounds familiar, it should. It is exactly what a steakhouse means when the menu says dry-aged and the price says double. Same idea. Cool air, controlled moisture, patience. They do it in a stainless cabinet with a glass door and charge you for every day the beef sat inside. A dry-aging cabinet is a hjallur with a marketing degree. Now, the honest physics, because there is a catch, and my grandfather would not forgive me for skipping it. The corridor is narrow. Dry the meat too fast, and the outside hardens into a shell while the inside stays wet. The old-timers call it case hardening, and it means the surface looks cured while the middle is in trouble. Keep the air too warm, or too still and damp, and rot wins the race instead. Too fast ruins it one way. Too slow ruins it the other. The Faroe Islands sit naturally inside that corridor. Cool all year, windy all year, humid. But the air never stands still. By accident of geography, the islands are a preservation machine the size of a country. The hjallur is the instrument that tunes it. The width of the gaps sets how much wind gets in. The wall facing the sea decides how much salt rides along. The height off the ground keeps air moving underneath as well as around. My grandfather, adjusting where a leg hung, was doing with his eyes and fingertips what that steakhouse cabinet does with sensors and a compressor. That is the whole secret, and a 10-year-old can repeat it at dinner. Cool air that keeps moving takes the water out of food before trouble can move in. The obvious next question is the one you should be asking by now. Fine, Sven, but I do not live on a windy island in the North Atlantic. What does any of this do for my house, my kitchen, my bill? More than you think. Let me say the honest thing first, and let me say it plainly. I am not telling you to hang a raw leg of lamb out your window in Ohio. Curing raw meat is a craft. Back home, children learn it standing next to their grandfathers for 20 winters before anyone trusts them with a whole animal. And even then, the old man checks the shed behind them. You do not learn it from one video, mine included, and anyone on this platform who tells you otherwise is being careless with your dinner. But here is the part that matters. The system has two halves. There is the curing half, turning raw meat into skerpikjøt. That half stays with the masters for now. And there is the storage half, keeping food in cool moving air instead of paying a machine to chill it. That half is yours today, because that half is nothing more than what every American farmhouse did without thinking twice until your great-grandmother's time. And if you think that half only works on an island, stay with me. This next part is for the house you are sitting in right now. Step 1 costs nothing. Tonight, stop refrigerating the things that never asked for cold. Potatoes, onions, garlic, winter squash, that hard salami. They want 3 things: cool, dark, and air that moves. Give the potatoes a slatted crate in the coolest corner you have, and keep it away from the onions, because onions breathe out a gas that makes potatoes sprout. They are bad roommates. Onions and garlic want a mesh bag or an open basket somewhere dark. Squash wants a shelf where air can reach every side. Do this one evening and two things happen at once. Your refrigerator suddenly has twice the room, and the argument for that humming second fridge in the garage gets very, very quiet. Step 2 is the build, and it is one Saturday. You are going to give your house back the room it lost, a cold larder the size of a corner. Pick the coolest wall you own. In most American houses, that is the north-facing wall of the garage or the basement. You want 3 things from it, in this order: cool, moving air, and shade. Not the wall beside the water heater. Not the sunny side. The north wall. The one the light forgets. Build or buy slatted shelving. Wood strips with gaps between them, the cheapest lumber in the store, because the gap is the point. Solid shelves block the air. Slats let it wash every side of whatever sits on them. And leave the bottom shelf a hand's width off the floor, so the air moves underneath too. That is the detail my grandfather would inspect first. Give the corner cross ventilation. One vent or gap down low on one side, another up high on the other. Cool air comes in low, warms a little, leaves high, and the corner never goes stale. If you are enclosing it as a cabinet, drill rows of holes, low on one side and high on the other, and staple insect mesh over every opening. The mesh is not optional. The flies know exactly what you are doing. Then spend $10 or $15 on the only instruments you need: a thermometer and a hygrometer, the little dial that reads the moisture in the air. You are aiming for cool, call it roughly 35 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 to 13 Celsius, which is where that corner will naturally sit through fall, winter, and much of spring across most of this country. You are not chasing a number to the decimal point. You are checking that the corner tells you the truth. All in, lumber, mesh, 2 vents, the 2 instruments. You will spend somewhere between $50 and $80 if you buy everything new. Once. $0 a month after that. The shed does not hum. Step 3 is for later, once the corner has earned your trust through a winter. In the cold months, that larder will happily hold the food that arrives at your house already cured. A whole country ham from the smokehouse people, hard sausages from a real butcher, an aged cheese that was born in a cave and has been suffering in plastic ever since. Hanging a paid-for country ham in a cool, ventilated corner is not an experiment. It is what the label already assumes you will do. You are not curing anything. You are storing it the way its maker intended. In the room your house forgot it had. Now the 3 mistakes that ruin this, because I have watched newcomers make all 3. Mistake 1, building it airtight. That is fridge thinking. Seal the box, trap the cold. Seal this corner and the air stands still, the wall sweats, and mold accepts your invitation. The gap is the point. Say it twice. Mistake 2, chasing cold and forgetting air. A cold corner with no movement is just a slow refrigerator, and a worse one. If the hygrometer reads damp and nothing stirs, open the low vent wider. Wind first, cold second. That is the order the islands taught, and the order that works. Mistake 3, starting in July. Humid summer heat is the one season this corner cannot beat, and it is exactly when beginners get excited. Build it in September. Let October teach you how it breathes. By the holidays, you will trust it with the ham. After that, maintenance is a glance a week. The 2 dials, your nose, 30 seconds. Less time than you spend wiping the rubber seal on a fridge door. And your nose, by the way, is older than any appliance and still the best instrument in the house. So we come to the question I promised at the start. If a cool moving corner kept this country's food safe for 300 years, and a wooden shed on a storm-beaten island keeps meat perfect for 9 months, why did you grow up believing a plugged-in box was the only serious answer? Here is the history, and I will keep it fair. Household refrigeration arrived in American kitchens in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, and it earned part of its place honestly. Fresh milk through summer, fish that could travel inland, leftovers safe on a Tuesday. The refrigerator does real work that no larder can do. I have one myself. It holds the milk and yesterday's fish soup. It has never once held the winter's meat. But look at what happened next, because it happened fast. Before that, American house plans routinely included the cool room, a larder, a pantry, a root cellar. A cool room was part of what a house was. Within a single generation, that room quietly disappeared from the blueprints. Not because it failed. A larder is built once and never sends a bill. A box is bought, powered, repaired, and replaced. A customer for life, 4 appliances long. One of those two things fits a catalog. The other does not. Nobody banned the larder. Nobody disproved it. Houses simply stopped being drawn with one, and within a generation, the knowledge of how to use a cool room stopped being handed down with the house keys. Not banned, not disproven, just replaced by something with a monthly cost. Your great-grandmother did not own a refrigerator. She owned a room. Now, the 3 objections I can already hear coming. First, Sven, I live in Phoenix. Fair. The corridor is real, and no corner of an Arizona garage is cool in July. I will not pretend otherwise. But notice, the principle bends to your climate, and the bill does not bend at all. In hot country, your larder season is the winter half of the year. Your basement, if you have one, stretches it further. The north wall is always your friend. Move the roots and the onions out there for the cool months, and let the box do only the work that is truly its own. You will still shrink the rent. Second, I rent an apartment. Then you do not need a shed. You need a corridor. A north-facing balcony in the cold months is a larder with a view. One slatted box out there will hold your potatoes, your onions, and your hard sausage from November to March. No balcony? One ventilated crate in the coolest closet you have is a start, and a bigger one than it sounds. The point was never square footage. The point is knowing which foods never needed the box at all. Third, is it safe? Everything I have shown you today is the storage half. Your great-grandmother's pantry, nothing more exotic than that. Cool, dark, moving air, a weekly glance, and your nose. The curing half, raw meat, salt wind, 9 months of patience. That one you leave to the islands for now, or to a master willing to stand next to you for the winters it takes to learn. Knowing which half is yours today and which half is not, that is part of the system too. My grandfather would tell you the same thing, and he would tell it to you sternly. That machine in your kitchen is still humming right now. Listen to it for a second. That sound is not the sound of something evil. It is just the sound of something expensive, doing several jobs that never needed doing. So here is what I want you to take from an old man and his grandfather's shed. Nobody stole this knowledge from you. It was never banned, and it was never beaten in a fair fight. They stopped printing the room in the blueprints and sold you a box instead. And 3 generations later, the box feels like a law of nature. It is not. The wind is still free. The corner of your garage is still there. And a leg of lamb hanging through a North Atlantic winter in a slatted wooden shed still comes out better than anything the box has ever made. Start with the potatoes this weekend. Build the corner in the fall. Hang the ham once the corner has earned it. $50 to $80, one Saturday. And every month after that, the landlord of the cold collects a little less rent from your house. Have you ever lost a freezer full of food to a power cut? Put the dollar figure in the comments. I want to see what the humming box costs this country when it blinks. And if you grew up in a house that still had a real larder or a root cellar, tell me what it held. Somebody 2 houses down is reading those comments right now, deciding against a second fridge. If you believe old knowledge deserves a second look before you pay another bill, you know what to do. Subscribe. And next week, we go up the ladder. The roof my people lay with a shovel and repair with grass has outlived every storm since the Viking Age, 1,000 years of winters. And it has never once needed the thing your asphalt shingles demand every 15 or 20 years, replacing. There is something that roof knows about keeping a house warm and dry that the shingle industry has no reason to teach you. That story is coming. Stay close.